A raven from Sam came that afternoon while John was working at what had been his Lord Father's desk. It seemed as soon as he sent one raven, Sam replied. John's friend was learning so much in Old Town. Each letter filled with more information on Westerosi history. Mostly, John wanted Sam to uncover anything he found on the others, White Walkers. Where they had come from, how to fight them, what to do. Many of the books at Winterfell had been burned or been destroyed, and there was no time to get new ones. Sam was the main source of information. He also sent details about Littlefinger for Sansa, who seemed especially keen to learn anything she could about Lord Baelish's businesses. John wondered what she was after, what secrets she wanted to uncover. It was dangerous to go about it this way, but there were few other options. The friends had developed a code to communicate with. It had taken a full 7 ravens back and forth to build out the secret language, each message written in code with changes to be added to create an updated version of the code. Recently, Sam had been finding information about the famous tournament at Harrenhal. John's Lord Father had been there, and so had half the realm, including Littlefinger. That was when all the trouble started for the Stark family. There was other news. Cersei, now queen in her own right, was ruling by fear and preparing her armies for battle against the girl they called the Mother of Dragons. John knew the North would need whoever was on the Iron Throne's help when the others come. He hoped it would be the Targaryen. Dragons may be just the advantage that could save the realm. John worked late that night, finishing letters to the northern houses, and finally decoding Sam's letter. Hearing light footsteps, John looked up to see Sansa glide past the door. "Come in," he called out, happy to see her and have a reason to look up from the scrolls that littered the desk. "You missed dinner. I brought you something," she said, carrying a tray with her. "Another raven from your friend Sam?" she asked, glancing down at the desk. "Yes. Shut the door," he told her. "Eat," she said, walking towards the door to shut it before returning to his side. As John started to eat the bread and meat, he felt Sansa standing behind him, looking over the documents, her hand lightly on his shoulder. "What good will you be in battle if all you do is read scrolls and forget to eat your dinner?" John bit into the warm meat and bread she had brought. It's true, he would often forget to eat his evening meal. He wasn't that hungry. He was never that hungry. "Sam says he has located the books on how to make Valyrian steel. It's not easy," John explained, taking another bite of food, suddenly imagining what it would be like to take a bite of her. "We don't need Valyrian steel to take Cersei's head," Sansa looked annoyed. "Or Littlefinger's, for that matter," she added under her breath. "We need it to fight the White Walkers," he reminded her, doing his best to ignore the mention of Cersei or Lord Baelish. She does her best to hide her hatred, he thought. "I don't see them yet," she said matter-of-factly. "We have to be prepared," John replied. He understood that he must convince Sansa of the threat. She had indulged him to a point, but only to a point. She softened. "John, if we don't kill Cersei, neither of us will live long enough to see the White Walkers. She's mad, and if this Mother of Dragons was not at her doorstep, she would have sent Jaime Lannister with my Lady Mother's own family troops from Riverrun to take us both. They may even be marching here as we speak. The Boltons were one thing. We don't have enough men to take a Lannister army, even with all the houses in the north and the Vale," John said as he watched her pace the length of the room in front of the hearth. She was so earnest, and she had proven herself. Getting up to stop her nervous pacing, John placed his hands on her arms. "Sansa, let these southern queens fight amongst themselves," he said to her. "I would love to see every Lannister hang for what they've done. We can't ask our people to sacrifice anymore, not in winter. You said so yourself." Sansa thought hard. "Brienne knows Jaime. Maybe we don't have to lose any." At that, there were slow, heavy footsteps at the door, heavy breathing that seemed to hesitate as they approached, then a knock. "Who's there?" John reached for his sword, ever ready for an attack, even within the safe walls of Winterfell. He saw Sansa tense, and ghost ears stand alert. Lord Davos slowly spoke. "Your Grace, might I come in?" He breathed a sigh of relief, all relaxed. "Yes, just taking the meal I missed," Jon responded. "Excuse me, my lady. Might I have a word with his grace?" Lord Davos said as he entered the room and saw that Sansa was with the king in the north. Jon saw that Sansa looked at him, and they agreed to have no secrets, especially when it came to Davos and Littlefinger. Davos they were beginning to trust, even like a little bit. Still, he was Stannis' man, which required them to be cautious. "Sansa can stay, Lord Davos. I have no secrets from my princess," Jon said. He noticed a slight smile on Sansa's face when he called her his princess. That was a mistake. Sister, I meant to say sister. Truly, she's my half-sister. I've never called her half-sister. Maybe that would sound better. Sansa felt less and less a little sister to him, and more a princess each day that passed at Winterfell. "We were just talking about what to do with Cersei Lannister. Maybe you could... Is there something wrong?" Sansa began to say to Lord Davos, who looked around the room, then down the hall before carefully shutting the heavy door. Jon kept his hand on his sword. Something in the Onion Knight's manner was touched. "I'm sorry, Your Grace. I think there's something... I'm not sure. I'm not very good with letters," he started to say. "What are you talking about? Did a raven come for you?" Jon asked. "Your Grace, I was down in the crypts to pay my respects. Princess Sansa had said I could place what was left of the little princess there, her stag. At least her memory could rest with kings and lords, and, well, I don't know." Lord Davos rambled. Jon became slightly annoyed that Sansa had not mentioned this. It was just a child's toy. Still, they had agreed to tell each other everything. Sansa looked at him. "I forgot," she mouthed to Jon, looking frustrated with Davos. His devotion to the Baratheon girl was honorable. A terrible fate had befallen her. Though his demeanor this evening in coming to see Jon about something so trivial as a little girl's toy was about to get him kicked out of the room, especially for interrupting Jon's time with Sansa. "You see, the little princess was teaching me to read," he said. Jon thought, the man sure can go on and on about that girl. Then he chided himself for thinking ill thoughts about a child that had died so horribly. Yes, Jon and Sansa looked at each other. There was this outcrop on the fallen wall, the perfect little shelf, out of the way, the one you mentioned, Princess, Davos said. It was the place where the rocks had fallen yesterday. Before he realized it, Jon started to get a sick feeling deep in his stomach. "When I placed the stag there, more rocks fell," he continued. "I didn't mean to disturb anything." Jon's nightmares flashed before his eyes. This is why he hated the crypts. Whatever was lurking down there, he did not want to know. He felt his body move back towards a dark corner of the room. Something deep inside him started to rise, the fear taking over, forcing it out of his body. "What did you see?" Sansa asked. "No, Sansa, we do not want to know this." There was something leaning up against a wall. It looked like a headstone, not very old, engraved, but not used, prepared, ready. "Another place for someone," Davos described. "Why would there be another place for someone, Lord Davos?" Sansa asked. "Our Lord Father had places made for himself and his true-born sons." Jon added, speaking from his dark corner, trying to keep control of his voice. "There are only places left for Robb's body and Bran. There are no other empty places in the crypt, not for Sansa, not for me. It is not for us." "That may be the case, Your Grace. There was a name," Davos said as he looked at Jon. I'm not sure. I can't read very well. I brought the light. Still, it was hard." "What did it say?" Jon growled, losing his patience. The animal instinct rising from the pit of his stomach. "Stay down," he thought. "The little princess taught me if you rub a crayon, you can copy the words. I went back tonight. I didn't think you would believe me if I just told you, Your Grace," he answered. Jon stared at the man, fixated on him like a wolf standing down a rival. Despite this, Davos seemed to regain some of his composure. "And this is something you will want to see, Your Grace. I was never very good reading Targaryen names." Davos placed a piece of rubbing on the desk, urging Jon to come out of his corner and see it. "Here, I believe it means you are not a Lord of Winterfell, but a king of the 7 kingdoms." He trailed off. Jon looked down at the paper rubbing of the headstone, eyes widening. He stopped hearing, stopped seeing as he leaned over the desk, staring at the paper Lord Davos had placed. Sansa stood next to him, her mouth wide, reading the words. His head began to throb, and the rage rose from his stomach, taking over his whole body. Jon Snow, son of Lyanna Stark, and Rhaegar Targaryen, Prince of Dragonstone, it read. Jumping from behind the desk, he put his sword to Davos's throat. Jon growled in a deep voice, "Are you fucking with me, old man? I'll kill you. Did Littlefinger put you up to this?" "No, no," Davos responded. "Jon, stop!" Sansa cried. Jon barely felt her try to pull him off the Onion Knight. "I swear I'll kill him." Jon said to his sister, "Jon, go see for yourself," Sansa urged, trying to defuse the situation. "Take us. If you're lying, old man, I swear to you, you will wish the others found you first."